Hey everybody, checking out the video today. Thanks for tuning in. So today's video I'm going to be going through cold email list building recommendations. Okay, so this digital marketing agencies, SMMA, ad agencies. To be honest, pretty much any other niche or vertical can use this as well. But if any of you out there have been following me, you know I specialize in digital marketing in particular. So basically, yeah, I mean, if you're going to run cold email campaigns, you need to have a list, all right? So, I mean, you got to have a list of target prospects, and you basically got to have messaging that you're going to use to reach out to them, okay? So, basically, what I thought I'd do, just give a brief overview of some of the list building approaches I use for researching target prospects, finding, target accounts and decision makers in particular at those target accounts. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a few of the kind of methods I personally use to do that, really in the day-to-day running of my business. Okay, because obviously I do this as a service for other agencies as well. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator. This is one of my favorite to use. A couple reasons why. Huge, basically database of users. So if you're looking for very specific and targeted accounts and decision makers within those accounts, Sales Navigator is a really effective way to do it. However, a couple things you really need to keep in mind with this in order to leverage it effectively. I guess one, just being super specific and clear over what kind of companies and who the decision makers are that you need to be actually reaching out to first of all. And then the way you can actually get more specific and targeted in that sense is with Boolean keyword searches. For most niches that I've kind of done this for, I've found that I don't know, off the top of my head, probably 90% of them, you just have to use Boolean keyword searches to get really specific with it. So there's kind of a lot of things you need to know with Sales Navigator to really leverage it. But I'd say one of the biggest is in terms of the features within the tool itself is being able to leverage Boolean keyword searches effectively. Because a lot of the other filters like industry, geography, company size, and things like that are pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so just something to keep in mind if you want to get a good list from it. So yeah, that's basically a really effective way to build a specific and highly targeted list of accounts for your cold email campaigns. And once you've done that, you can basically just scrape their contact details. These three tools here, Airleads, Weezer, and Scrap, are what I've personally used before. I mean, there's so many others out there as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm only going to recommend the ones I've personally used, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Obviously, I can't cover everything about that in this specific video. I've got other videos on my YouTube channel that cover that in more detail, I believe. The second thing I like to do, or way I like to do my list building, is B2B Databases. I mean, some of them tend to get kind of a bad rep, but I think it just depends on the database you use. So, I mean, the biggest advantage to these, you can just build a highly targeted and accurate list of decision makers super quick. Okay, I mean literally in a few minutes, something, So it's a really big advantage for it, especially if you don't want to spend a lot of time or use VAs or whatever to do use other kind of list building approaches. The drawback though, they tend to be a fair bit more expensive to other list building approaches, but it's the payoff is you save time on your target prospect research and list building. So it's kind of something you're going to have to balance up personally as to what's right for you. Okay, so two that I've personally used are Lime Leads and Uplead. Okay, both are really good and have high quality search results. Upleads like a bit more superior in my opinion. The search quality and the filters are just a bit more advanced. However, it is quite pricey. I think their starter plan is like, I think for 170 credits, like 100 US a month. So it is quite a fair bit. LimeLeads is a bit cheaper, but you know, definitely I'd say the quality of Uplead is definitely higher than that of LimeLeads. But yeah, both of them are really good options basically. If you want to build a list fast, and not spend it, you know, potentially hours or whatever doing research and Sales Navigator or something like that, it's a good option to keep in mind to get decision makers at target accounts. All right, so next one here, AngelList and Crunchbase. So I could have put these as separate, but they're kind of similar, so I thought we'd just lump them together into the same thing. So these tend to be a bit more niche specific. Like I've used these both a lot because I have one of my agency clients, well actually two of them, work with fintechs and really innovative kind of companies. So for their kind of audience, I find AngelList and Crunchbase are kind of the best places to be on. But you can still find a lot of, you know, good accounts and useful information about the companies on those platforms across, you know, a whole variety of other verticals. I mean, like advertising platforms, media companies. I've even found like CBD companies and cannabis companies and things like that on there. So kind of depends. It does tend to be a bit more like geared around kind of those innovative tech companies and that kind of thing. But in saying that, like you can still find some gold on there for other verticals too. So, you know, all I can say is just do your own research there. But this is a good way as well because pretty much every company that's listed has like, you know, the decision makers listed on their company page. It tells you how much they've secured in funding. So, you know, you can kind of get a pretty good idea just from, you know, going through those company lists, whether they're going to potentially be a good fit or not in some ways, like in terms of like whether they could afford your services and things like that would be a good fit. So yeah, it's definitely one to keep in mind, but also just be aware that for some agencies, it might not be a fit, but you know, do your own research there. Last but not least, we've got business directories. This is pretty common. So this is just like Yellow Pages, Yelp, and I mean other kind of similar directories wherever in the world you are. They pretty much vary everywhere. You know, these will have a lot of businesses typically. Again, it tends to sort of be more suited for certain like niches and things like that. Like if I was going to be looking for financial services companies, I wouldn't be using a business directory. I'd just use like LinkedIn or AngelList or Crunchbase or something. I think a lot of these directories are better for kind of those sort of blue collar jobs where you know, contractors and things like that. Which also leads me on to the fact you've got niche directories as well, like Home Advisor, which has a whole variety of different types of contractors on it. I think Zillow is one for real estate, if I remember. So yeah, I mean, basically the way you'd leverage them, you just get everything compiled into a sheet, and then you'd have to run them through a third-party tool in order to get the email addresses associated with the domains of those companies. What I find though a lot of times when you do this is you just don't get the business owner or decision maker's contact details. So yeah, I mean, there's a kind of couple things you can do there. You can kind of then just get a VA to go do another layer of research to try and find who the business owner is. And then when you actually do like your email outreach to those business email addresses, you just like put the business owner's name in if you've been able to find it, because you can kind of assume with a lot of these smaller companies on these directories that the business owner is going to be checking a lot of those generic email addresses. But yeah, that's pretty much how you would kind of use that. And that's really going to just, I think directories really depend on what your niche is. And I think that's kind of, I guess, as we're finishing up this video, kind of a summary, I guess, of A lot of these kind of methods I've just gone through, they will be suited kind of more for different niches than others. And so that's kind of like, you just need to, I guess, to determine what would be best for you, you'd need to think kind of like, oh, okay, who is my perfect type of ideal client and where can I best reach them? Like if your ideal client's like a kitchen remodeling contractor, like you're not going to use AngelList to look for that, right? It's kind of, so you kind of basically make your decision based on that. All right, so that's how you would essentially leverage it. Also, could have put Google in here as well. You can even just do Google searches for companies in your niche and try and get the details that way, and then run them through a third-party tool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So they're kind of the methods I use. LinkedIn Sales Nav, databases, AngelList, Crunchbase, business directories. They're really probably the most common sort of approaches I use, depending on what the niche is I'm actually running a campaign to. But more often than not, it's one of those four, or maybe a combination of those four or something like that. So yeah, hope that helps you out. Gives you a bit of clarity on what you can do for your agency with your cold email list building. If you want sort of one-on-one help with this, just feel free to reach out wherever we're connected, wherever that may be, or you can just like book a call below or wherever I've got the link for this video. That's it, guys. Hope that helps you out. Gives you a bit of ideas for your list building, and yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next video.